when I was a young girl, I feared going home. School days were my oasis, and the classroom was where I felt safe. Fridays were terrifying with the prospect of the weekend weighing down upon me. On one particular Friday afternoon during my second grade year, I turned to my teacher with tears in my eyes and told her that I was scared to go home for the weekend. She hugged me and told me, "At least you know that at school, no one will ever hurt you. You will always be safe in the classroom." And that was the first time that the Department of Children and Families was called. Years later, I became a foster kid at the age of 15. I wanted nothing more than a family that would finally love me. But the only foster homes available for someone my age were short-term. Older foster kids like me were considered used goods, and we were left to bounce between group homes and shelters. If I wanted to live in a foster home, I would have to switch schools whenever I moved. But I found out that a certain law, called the McKinney-Vento Act, would allow me to stay in the high school that I had started in, but in order to do so, I had to be homeless. I reasoned that if I graduated high school, I could one day get a good job, and maybe create the family that I wanted so desperately. I chose to be homeless because my education came first. Ladies and gentlemen, did you have to choose between your high school degree or your family? Would you make your own children choose? Foster children have to make that choice. Studies have found that nearly 65% of foster children lived in more than one place in the year 2009, with almost 20% living in 4 or more. It's also been found that high school students who change schools even once were less than half as likely to graduate as those who do not change schools at all. These children lack a family and never have a stable education that can one day allow them to create their own future. School mobility has been linked to a myriad of negative outcomes, including homelessness, incarceration, and even death. Congress has tried to address these issues, but, as in my case, the laws failed to accomplish their goal. Congress took a large step in proposing such policies, but without proper implementation, they can never ensure educational success. In my policy report, I carefully analyzed the McKinney-Vento Act and the Fostering Connections Act, and detail how they are currently serving foster youth, yet still need some strengthening. I also describe educational models that do work. For example, the Individual with Disabilities Education Act provides students with disabilities an independent education plan that is legally enforceable. I believe that the education of a foster youth is their only means to a better life, and that they too should be given the right to a stable, safe classroom. I urge Congress to consider this vital information as the Education and Secondary Education Act comes up for reauthorization. Stable education saved a foster child once, and it can and will do so again.